Imagine standing beside the tracks and feeling the ground shake before the locomotive even comes into view. First comes the deep roar, then the vibration in your chest, and then a wall of steel appears, pulling a massive train behind it. But what really makes a train powerful? Is it the size, the pulling force, the weight it can move, or that overwhelming presence that makes everybody stop and stare? We are looking at some of the biggest and most powerful American trains ever put into action. These machines were built to conquer mountains, cross huge distances, and haul loads that very few vehicles on Earth could ever move. Stay with me until the end, because the last locomotive on this list did not become a legend by accident. EMD SD90 MACH. The EMD SD90 MACH was introduced in 1995 by Electromotive Division in the United States, during a time when railroads were searching for stronger diesel-electric locomotives that could haul massive freight trains with fewer units in the consist. It was built to become one of the great symbols of the 6,000 horsepower era. Under the hood, it used the EMD 265H engine, a V16 engine with roughly 102 liters of total displacement. The original goal was to deliver 6,000 horsepower, but many units operated at around 4,300 horsepower because of reliability concerns. Its top speed was about 70 miles per hour, but the real highlight was its pulling force, designed to get extremely heavy trains moving from a dead stop. Like most heavy diesel-electric locomotives, it did not use a regular manual or automatic transmission. The diesel engine powered an electric system that sent energy to the traction motors on the axles. Power went to 6 driven axles, with 2 3-axle trucks, giving it strong grip and steady force on the rails. Visually, the SD90 MACH was huge, measuring over 79 feet long and weighing more than 414,000 pounds. The tall cab, long body, and deep engine sound gave it the feel of an industrial machine built to work without rest. It was used in heavy freight service, especially on long railroad routes where strength and endurance mattered more than speed. Even with all that raw power, the SD90 MACH became known for technology that was a little too ambitious for its time. The 265H engine required plenty of adjustments, which made the locomotive admired, but also remembered for its maintenance challenges. Still, whenever one of these appeared in action, it was impossible not to look. And if this one already seemed big, the next locomotive on the list pushed the horsepower race to an even more intense level. GE AC6000CW. The GE AC6000CW appeared in 1995, built by General Electric in the United States, right in the middle of a serious race for 6,000 horsepower diesel-electric locomotives. The idea was to put more power into a single machine and reduce the need for multiple locomotives on heavy coal, grain, and long freight trains. It used the GE 7HDL engine, a V16 engine with roughly 109 liters of total displacement. This setup delivered 6,000 horsepower and an initial tractive effort close to 183,000 pounds. Its top speed was around 75 miles per hour, although its real mission was brute strength, not speed. Just like other modern giants, the AC6000CW did not use a traditional manual or automatic transmission. The diesel engine generated power for electric traction motors mounted on the axles, creating a highly effective electric drive system for heavy freight. It had power on 6 driven axles, with 2 3-axle trucks, giving it serious grip on the rails, even with massive trains behind it. Its appearance was imposing, with a body almost 76 feet long, a wide cab, and the tall shape typical of big American locomotives from the 1990s. The engine had a deep, full sound that seemed to grow as the load came on. It was the kind of locomotive that could pass by slowly and still make you feel like it was pulling an entire city. The AC6000CW worked mainly for railroads like Union Pacific and CSX Transportation, taking on long and demanding freight routes. It also had its own challenges, especially with the reliability of the 7HDL engine, but it left a strong mark on railroad history. It was one of the boldest attempts to create an extreme horsepower diesel locomotive. And if this one already impresses with modern power, the next machine takes us back to an era when steam, smoke, and steel created an even more brutal spectacle. Southern Pacific AC-12 Cab Forward. The Southern Pacific AC-12 Cab Forward was built in 1943 by Baldwin Locomotive Works in the United States to take on the Sierra Nevada mountains. It was born for a tough environment, with steep grades, tight curves, and long tunnels where a regular steam locomotive could send smoke straight into the crew's cab. That is why its design was so different. The cab was placed at the front, while the boiler sat behind the crew. It was an articulated steam locomotive with a 4-cylinder engine, a 4882 wheel arrangement, and it burned fuel oil instead of coal. In heavy service, it could produce more than 6,000 horsepower. Its tractive effort was close to 123,000 pounds, with a top speed of around 70 miles per hour. It did not have a transmission like a regular vehicle. Power came from steam moving the pistons, which drove the wheels directly. Its suspension used springs, trucks, and an articulated frame that allowed this giant, about 123 feet long and weighing more than 648,000 pounds, to handle mountain curves without losing stability. In real service, the AC-12 was a smart solution for Southern Pacific. The forward cab gave the crew better visibility and kept them away from smoke inside tunnels. Its reversed look became its signature, and even today, it is remembered as one of the strangest, most useful, and most impressive steam locomotives ever used in the United States. If you are enjoying this ride through the giants of the rails, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because that helps this video reach more people who love historic machines. Now hold on, because the next locomotive was not just big, it was built to celebrate American railroad power on a monumental scale. EMD DDA40X Centennial. The EMD DDA40X Centennial was introduced in 1969 by Electromotive Division in the United States as a commemorative locomotive for the 100th anniversary of the completion of the first American transcontinental railroad. It was built for Union Pacific, a railroad that has always had a taste for big, strong machines that stand out on the tracks. This giant used two EMD 645 series V16 engines with a combined displacement of around 211 liters. Together, they produced 6,600 horsepower, making the DDA40X one of the most powerful diesel locomotives ever used in regular service. Its top speed was around 90 miles per hour, but its real reputation came from pulling long trains at high speed. It did not have a conventional manual or automatic transmission, which sent electricity to the traction motors on the axles. Power was delivered through 8 driven axles with 2 4-axle trucks, giving the locomotive an incredible presence and impressive grip for heavy freight service. At nearly 98 feet long and weighing more than 530,000 pounds, the DDA40X looked like 2 locomotives in one. The sound of both engines working together was deep, full, and powerful. The kind of sound that made any rail fan stop near the line just to listen. It became a Union Pacific symbol and marked an era when size and horsepower were treated almost like national pride. Even after retirement, the Centennial stayed alive in American railroad memory. Several units were preserved in museums, and one even operated on special excursions, proving that this machine was not just brute force. It was a piece of history on rails, and if the Centennial already feels excessive, the next one brings us back to steam with aggressive elegance and a level of power that still impresses every generation. Norfolk and Western Class A 1218. The Norfolk and Western Class A 1218 was built in 1943 by Norfolk and Western itself in the United States, at a time when railroads needed strong, fast, and reliable steam power for heavy freight. It was created to pull coal and merchandise trains, but it also had enough speed for quicker service when needed. This articulated steam locomotive used a 4-cylinder engine with a 2664 wheel arrangement. Its indicated horsepower could exceed 5,000 horsepower, with tractive effort close to 114,000 pounds. Its top speed was around 70 miles per hour, an impressive figure for a machine of this size and weight. Like every steam locomotive, it did not use a regular transmission. Power came from steam pressure pushing the pistons, which moved the driving wheels directly. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and articulated components that helped distribute the weight and keep the locomotive stable. Traction came through the driving wheels, built to bite into the rails even while pulling heavy consists. With more than 121 feet of length, including the tender, and a total operating weight above 990,000 pounds. The Class A 1218 had a presence that was both elegant and intimidating. The sound of the exhaust, the strong whistle, and the smoke rising into the air made it feel like a living machine, almost breathing as it moved forward. After retirement, the 1218 was preserved and eventually returned to the rails for special trips. Amazing generations who had never seen a steam locomotive of this size working up close. It became one of the great treasures of American railroad history. And if this one already combines strength and beauty in a rare way, the next machine adds even more weight to the story, with a locomotive built to move mountains of iron ore. Duluth, Mesabe and Iron Range Yellowstone. The Duluth, Mesabe and Iron Range Yellowstone was built starting in 1941 by Baldwin Locomotive Works in the United States for truly heavy work, pulling enormous iron ore trains in the Great Lakes region. It operated mainly in Minnesota, where rail transportation was essential for moving ore to the ports. This steam giant used a 4-cylinder engine, a 2884 wheel arrangement, and a massive boiler built to maintain steady power at low speeds. Its estimated output could exceed 6,000 horsepower, with tractive effort around 140,000 pounds. Its top speed was close to 45 miles per hour, because its purpose was not to run fast. It was built to drag extreme weight. As a steam locomotive, it had no manual or automatic transmission. Steam pressure moved the pistons, which sent power directly to the driving wheels. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and a central articulation, allowing a machine more than 125 feet long, with the tender, and weighing over 1.2 million pounds, to work on heavy rail lines without losing stability. The Yellowstone looked brutal. It seemed built to push the horizon itself, with a massive front end, huge wheels, and a tender loaded with fuel and water. In ore service, it solved a clear problem, moving extremely heavy consists with fewer locomotives, while keeping a steady flow of raw material moving toward the American steel industry. Over time, the Yellowstone became a symbol of railroad strength in ore transportation. Some units were preserved, and even sitting still, they still impress with their size. Just imagine one of them in action. And if this machine already seemed built to move a mountain, the next one enters the list as one of the strangest, largest, and boldest locomotives ever made in the United States. Pennsylvania Railroad S1. The Pennsylvania Railroad S1 was introduced in 1939 by the Pennsylvania Railroad in the United States as an experimental locomotive created to show how far American steam power could go. It appeared at the New York World's Fair as a showcase of engineering, luxury, and speed on rails. It used a 4-cylinder steam engine with a 6446 wheel arrangement, a rare and massive configuration. Its estimated power was above 7,000 horsepower, with tractive effort around 76,000 pounds. Its top speed was never officially proven with complete accuracy, but reports from the time claimed it could exceed 100 miles per hour under favorable conditions. As a steam locomotive, it had no manual or automatic transmission. Power came from steam pushing the pistons and moving the driving wheels. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and wheel sets spread across an extremely long frame, but its exaggerated size created a problem. The S1 needed very wide curves to operate properly. The look was a show by itself. Its streamlined casing gave the locomotive a futuristic appearance for its time, long, low, and imposing. With more than 140 feet of length including the tender and a total weight above 1 million pounds, it did not look like just a passenger locomotive. It looked like a rolling demonstration piece, built to impress every station it entered. In practice, the S1 worked in passenger service, but it was never an easy machine to use day to day. Its length made switching, curves, and normal line operations difficult. It was powerful, elegant, and advanced, but also too large for much of the railroad network where it was supposed to run. The S1 remained a one-of-one machine. It never entered series production and was eventually scrapped years later. Still, it left a huge legacy as one of the most ambitious experiments of the steam era. And if this locomotive seemed too big for the tracks themselves, the next one managed to combine size, power, and real-world service in a much more legendary career. Union Pacific Challenger. The Union Pacific Challenger began construction in 1936 by the American Locomotive Company in the United States for Union Pacific. It was created to solve a major problem: pulling heavy trains over long distances, especially through mountain territory, without relying on several smaller locomotives working together. This articulated steam locomotive used a four-cylinder engine with a 4-6-6-4 wheel arrangement. Its estimated power was above 5,000 horsepower, with tractive effort close to 97,000 pounds. Its top speed could reach the range of 70 miles per hour, an impressive number for a machine this large and built for heavy service. It did not have a manual or automatic transmission. Power came from steam pressure pushing the pistons, which directly moved the driving wheels. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and a central articulation, allowing the locomotive to handle curves and grades with more stability, even with more than 121 feet of length, including the tender, and a total weight above 1 million pounds. The Challenger's appearance mixed power and elegance. It was long, tall, and fitted with massive wheels, with a front end that seemed to attack the rails with authority. The sharp rhythm of the exhaust, the deep whistle, and the column of smoke created a presence that stayed in the memory of anyone who saw it working. In real service, the Challenger was used on both freight and passenger trains, especially across difficult Union Pacific routes. It could maintain speed while pulling heavy weight, which was essential for a railroad that had to cover huge distances without losing efficiency. One of them, number 3985, became famous after being preserved and operated for many years on special excursions. The Challenger became one of the greatest legends of American steam because it was not just big. It was useful, strong, relatively fast, and truly practical in real railroad work. And if this already seemed like the peak of articulated locomotives, the next one took brute force to an even heavier level, born to face mountains with coal trains stretching toward the horizon. Chesapeake and Ohio Allegheny. The Chesapeake and Ohio Allegheny was built starting in 1941 by Lima Locomotive Works in the United States to handle one of the heaviest jobs in railroading, pulling enormous coal trains through the Allegheny Mountains. It was born to conquer steep grades, demanding curves, and trains loaded to the limit. This steam giant used a four-cylinder engine with a 2-6-6-6 wheel arrangement, a rare and extremely powerful configuration. Its indicated horsepower could exceed 7,000 horsepower, with tractive effort close to 110,000 pounds. Its top speed was around 70 miles per hour, but its greatest strength was maintaining continuous power through heavy mountain territory. As a steam locomotive, it had no manual or automatic transmission. Steam pressure moved the pistons, which sent force directly to the driving wheels. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and articulation, allowing a machine more than 125 feet long with the tender and weighing over 1.3 million pounds to stay steady even on mountain lines. The Allegheny's presence was simply brutal. Its wide front end, enormous boiler, and wheel arrangement made it look like a factory moving on rails. When it began pulling coal, the sound of steam, the clanking couplers, and the rising smoke created a scene that seemed to capture the full force of American industry. In practice, it was used mainly by Chesapeake and Ohio on coal trains, helping move one of the most important loads for industry and energy production at the time. Even though it was extremely powerful, it was also expensive, heavy, and complex, which made its career relatively short once diesel locomotives took over. The Allegheny is remembered as one of the most powerful steam locomotives ever built. Some units were preserved, and even standing still in museums, they still give the impression that they could pull an entire mountain behind them. But now we have reached the top of the list with the American locomotive that became a synonym for size, power, and legend on the rails. Union Pacific Big Boy. The Union Pacific Big Boy was built starting in 1941 by the American Locomotive Company in the United States, especially for Union Pacific. It was created to take on the heavy grades of the Wasatch Mountains, pulling long freight trains without depending so heavily on helper locomotives. This articulated steam locomotive used a 4-cylinder engine with a 4884 wheel arrangement. Its estimated power was above 6,000 horsepower, with tractive effort around 135,000 pounds. Its top speed could reach close to 80 miles per hour, but its real fame came from delivering continuous strength in heavy service. It had no manual or automatic transmission. Power came from steam pressure moving the pistons, which sent energy directly to the driving wheels. Its suspension used trucks, springs, and a central articulation, allowing a machine more than 132 feet long with the tender and weighing over 1.2 million pounds to handle curves and work mountain routes. In real service, it was used mainly between Wyoming and Utah, where it had to climb tough grades while hauling enormous freight trains. Only 25 units were built, and several survived in preservation. Number 4014 returned to operation after a major restoration, drawing huge crowds just to watch this living legend pass by on the rails. The Big Boy is not remembered only because it was large. It became the ultimate symbol of American steam because it combined size, power, engineering, and spectacle in one machine. After it, very few locomotives ever managed to create the same fascination. And that is why, when the subject is a giant and powerful American train, the name Big Boy still sits at the top. That was our journey through some of the biggest and most powerful American trains ever put into action. We saw brutal diesel-electric locomotives, gigantic steam machines, rare experimental models, and true legends that helped move coal, iron ore, heavy freight, and the history of American railroading itself. More than steel, steam, and horsepower, these machines represent a time when the rails stood for progress, hard work, and engineering pushed to the limit. Each one had a mission: conquer mountains, pull enormous trains, and prove that railroad power can also become memory and fascination. Now tell me in the comments, which of these locomotives did you already know? Which one impressed you the most? And which one would you most like to see passing by in real life? If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Shows YouTube that this content matters and helps these stories reach more people who love incredible machines. I'll see you in the next video.